A local Lutheran church in my community just had a showing of God is Not Dead that they had open to the public. So I decided to go ahead and attend that on the off chance that there was going to be a discussion period afterwards. But there wasn't. They did meet in the basement afterwards for coffee and cookies, but I didn't get the feeling that that was the proper venue to explain to them the problems with the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity here to make a video for those folks, and I'll send it to the pastor. He can do whatever he wants with it. But when I arrived, I was greeted by the pastor and a very nice woman who told me that I was going to love the movie. I didn't bother to tell them that I'd seen it before and that it's atrocious, but it was they offered me popcorn and water, which I declined, and I went upstairs to the sanctuary, which is where they showed the movie, and they were playing some music. They had a live band there playing some music, and that was nice. And then afterwards, they did a little thing about a presentation about a charity in Detroit helping the homeless, and they passed a plate specifically for that, so I gave $3 for that. That was nice. That was a nice thing for them to do, and I didn't mind participating in that. Then they showed the movie, and so first I want to take a moment to just address the movie itself. As a movie, see, I'm a writer, and as a writer, we have a term called ham-fisted, and the script for that movie is ham-fisted. And it's as if they typed with hams on their fists instead of their fingers, delicately typing the words. It's on the nose, in your face, just nonsense. The way that the script comes across. It's for one thing, I hate any movie that has this various storylines all coming together and at the end. Like Love Actually is an awful movie. I know a lot of people like it, but to me it's an awful movie. So I wasn't going to like the movie anyway, even if it had been about anything else. I wouldn't have liked it just because of the way that the way it was put together. That's a terrible way to write a movie. But then as for the characters in the movie. The characters are all caricatures. Even the Christians are caricatures. The girlfriend who's driven and wants him to not do this thing because what it will do to his career, which is nonsense. It's one class. That's just nonsense. The missionary who is all about being happy and all about faith and all adversity. That's a little over the top. The main characters, though, the atheists in particular, we have three atheist characters. We have Dean Cain, who plays a sociopath. We have this young girl who plays a character named Amy. I don't know the actress's name, and she's the militant atheist type, and then you have the main actor. I can't think of his name. The professor. What the hell's his name? I know his name. Anyway, he's not even an atheist. When you break down the movie, when you get down to the final few segments in the movie, we find out that he hates God. And the kid asks him even. The kid says to him, "How can you hate God if he doesn't exist?" Which is the only good question in the movie. Atheists, at the risk of making a no true Scotsman fallacy, atheists don't hate God. If I don't hate God any more than you hate Allah, I don't hate God any more than you hate Vishnu. It doesn't make sense to hate God if I don't believe that there is a God. And then now to address the idea of faith affirmation in the movie. There are a few things in the movie that are kind of what I would consider faith affirming. The speech that the old lady gives, the woman gives Dean Cain that a speech that she has dementia, but she gives him a speech about the devil. That's a good faith affirming speech. The idea that at the end that she doesn't know who he is anymore is just kind of silly. But the speech was good. The things that the newsboys say to the girl with cancer when she comes to them. Although the problem there that she's a foxhole atheist is what they call that. That's again, she's not really an atheist because she's fear for her life makes her come to God. So that's not really atheism. She wasn't a very well-educated atheist to begin with, but that's beside the point. The thing that they say to her about love and etc. and the prayer that they do, that's nice faith affirmation. That, as far as if that's what you're going to the movie for, that's fine. But the scene where the professor dies and they pray over him and he accepts God, that's another foxhole atheist scene, by the way, is just patently, in every way, absurd. It's just it's bogus nonsense. For one thing, there was a hit and run and nobody cared. Nobody cared. This guy hit somebody and ran, and I mean, well, let's go talk about God. That was ridiculous. It was also rude for the minister to preach to this guy when he tells him I'm an atheist. If I find somebody dying and they say that they're a Christian, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find them a Christian to minister to them. I'm not going to explain to them that they're wrong about their faith. The inverse is just as nonsense. But getting back to the faith affirmation thing, the other story that's running through this thing with the car that won't start, and then the car starts at the end when they have faith. That's just Hollywood nonsense. That's just not even. I don't even know how to begin to explain that. That's what. Yeah. Why didn't they pray for the car to start the first day? And that rain. Why did that? What was the deal with that rain? They didn't want it to rain because they were going to their little trip, and then it rained just long enough for the professor to get hit by a car, and then it cleared up. It was beautiful, clear skies after that. And why did it rain at all? He could have been hit with a car without rain. They just wanted the rain for the dramatic effect when he was laying on the street, I guess. It didn't make any sense. Let's see, what else? The arguments that the kid uses, and that he counters with, were actually pretty well done, except that here's the thing with that. The kid's arguments that he was using were cosmological and biological, and very little of it was philosophical. And it was a philosophy class. So he didn't use any ontological discussion. He didn't use any teleological discussion. He didn't use any eschatological discussion. It was all cosmological and biological. And there would be no place for that in a philosophy course. Although, I mean, it is part of the big picture of atheism, but not every atheist is going to be a cosmologist or a biologist, and it shouldn't be put on the spot of having to defend against. Why would a philosophy professor be expected to defend against the biological question? And the kid didn't even understand the biological issue, because the writers didn't understand the biological issue of abiogenesis, because he just he mentions the puddle of mud, Darwin's puddle of mud, which is nothing. That's just something Darwin said in passing, because and then they talk about that it doesn't jump, and that's basically a reference to the Cambrian explosion, which there's a lot of new information out about the Cambrian explosion, by the way, if you really want to look into that and find out why it's not really a problem for evolution. But the thing is, evolution does happen. It does happen, and so they just glossed over that. The flu vaccine is evidence that is about evolution happens. You get a new flu vaccine every year, because you get a new flu vaccine every year because the bug evolves to be able to adapt to the previous vaccine. So you need a new. That's why you need a new flu vaccine every year. That's evolution in action right there. That's what evolution is. So yeah, that was a problem with the movie. Those weren't my only problems with the movie. Those are the main problems with the movie. As I said though, there's nothing wrong with seeing a movie that's for faith affirmation. There are better ones. If that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for, there are better movies for faith affirmation. As an atheist, one of my favorite movies is the Invention of Lying, because it is atheism affirmation in subtext. It's not what the premise of the movie is, but it is. That's the subtext of the movie, and so. But then there's also bad atheism movies like Religulous. It's really not a very good movie. So it's not every movie that they make about a topic is going to be a good movie, just because you agree with the topic. If you want to see a better faith affirmation movie, I recommend The Last Temptation of Christ, actually, which is a better. I know Christians didn't like that movie, didn't want that movie coming out, but if you really watch it from beginning to end, it's very faith affirming. Okay, so that's all I had to say about that. Now, if you're interested in actually understanding what atheism is and not the way it was presented in that movie, I'm going to recommend to you. See, when I came with my book bag, so you would all know that if you wanted to talk to an atheist, there was one there. I wore this shirt, which I got from the website of The Thinking Atheist. I have a close personal relationship with reality. Yeah, if you want to know more about what atheism actually is, you can purchase my book. I'm going to do a pitch. Why not? This was also in my book bag when I was there. It's my book, Believe It, You Know an Atheist. What it is a breakdown of what atheism is and is not, and why a person might be an atheist, as opposed to what we're told atheism is by these movies, by Fox News, by preachers and churches. Frankly, preachers and churches talk about give people the wrong idea of what atheism is, because it's not people who hate God. It's just not. Let me go a little bit about the book here. It's broken down into 3 parts. Okay. The first part is called Understanding the Fundamentals. The second part is the Common Arguments, and the third part is the Advanced Arguments. Understanding the Fundamentals breaks down what atheism is not, what atheism is, why atheism is not agnosticism, which, by the way, he mischaracterizes in the first scene in the movie. And then common misconceptions about morality, rebellion, Satanism, and read the Bible as an argument. The morality thing is also misrepresented in the movie. Taking offense is the next part. It's about people who are afraid to talk about atheism because they want to please their family and society and respect the beliefs of others, and that they feel like they're being put on the spot of defending science, which isn't their job. And then part 4 in section 4 in part 1 is about aggressive atheism, which is often mischaracterized and misunderstood. And so it talks about dismissing non-belief, religious aggression, which there is a lot of religious aggression in society here in the United States, the law, and then it talks about Dawkins, Dennett, Hitchens, and Harris. They're known as the Four Horsemen. And then it talks about some older atheists, Ingersoll, O'Hare, and Sagan specifically. There are more than those, but it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what atheism is to different individuals. And then it goes into the next section. If that's all you read is the first section, you're going to get a better understanding of what atheism is, by the way. But then it goes into the next section, part 2, the common arguments. The first argument being that existence proves God. And then it talks about infinite regress, God of the gaps, and moving the goalposts, which is the 3 things under that category. And infinite regress was talked about in the movie too, but just briefly. And they didn't really explain the atheist position on that. Part 2 is God is necessary, which is just glossed over, but it goes into the first cause argument, the in essence argument, and infieri, which are pretty deep philosophical arguments, but I try to handle them here in a way that's accessible. Part 3 is God explains things, and that goes into apparent design, chance versus selection, and pantheism versus deism. And the kid actually made some deistic arguments in the movie. He was supposedly defending Christianity, but he made deistic arguments. And if you read this, you might understand a little bit better where he did that. What about religious experience? Talks about miracles, ghosts, revelation, and past life regression. So these are all things that are used as evidence for God, and this talks about why those things might not be accepted by a skeptical mind as easily as they are by a person who's prone to be religious. And there's nothing wrong with being prone to be religious. That's fine. But the problem with religion is it often demonizes, to use your own word, people who just aren't able to rationalize it as being reasonable. There's no, and that shouldn't be the case. So anyway, then part 3 goes a little bit more deeper into the argument. So if you're interested in the book, I'll leave a link in the description here. I hope that you consider reading it, because it really will help you to understand what atheism is and is not, better than that movie did. Anyway, thanks for having me to the theater, or to the movie, to the production, to the presentation. But no, it didn't sway me, and it was really a little bit of a waste of 2 hours.